Hello, Matthew Vandenberg here. Just wanted to show you all the books I've written instead of doing the usual walking tour. There's 15 of them. There's 10 that are part of one series, and the other five are sort of either loosely connected or kind of side stories or ones that don't really relate to the main story. But I'll just quickly run through them. So, this is the first one, War Peace Southside Story. Basically, about a war breaking out in Bondi, almost like the war that happened in Ireland back in the day between Protestants and Catholics. The adults are the ones fighting. The kids want nothing to do with it. They sort of shelter in a Bondi beach house and try and find ways to bring people together instead of continuing the war. Second one, War Peace Part 2, written under a pseudonym, by the way, Clarissa Daisy Huntsman. I may change that when I publish it again, but at the moment it's not under my name. So it's set in America, mostly in Utah. Bunch of Mormon honeybee hippies kind of have a shadow government underground and try to make things better from where they are. The daughter, the main character is a fictional daughter of John Huntsman, who was in the running to be the Republican nominee to run for president back in 2016. Sorry, not back in back in 2012, and so it's based on a fictional daughter of his, and they sort of want him to become president so that there's peace instead of Obama to continue to be president. So there was that one. You've got War Peace Part 3 here. This is basically also set in America. It starts off in Tijuana in Mexico, and then it goes into America, and it's basically people again trying to spread peace, love, and unity, trying to spread the gospel of this new religion they actually make up in this book, actually, where there's a coming of a female Jesus that they stage with the help of Penn and Teller, the magicians. This is all unofficial, of course. So they make up a sort of new religion and try and get people to think more about peace, love, and unity rather than conflict and fighting all the time. Then you got the fourth one, War Peace Part 4. That's set here in Australia. I'm Australian, by the way. That's under the Opera House. It's sort of like the ruins of the Opera House after the war has affected everything. So there's not really many people in Sydney anymore because, it's kind of been devastated by the war. And then they sort of have another shadow government under the Sydney Opera House where they have famous people coming in every now and then. Eminem, Eric Bana, Russell Crowe, they all happen to live there. And then other famous people are coming in sort of talking about how to change the world and how to make the world a better place. So that's part 4. Then it goes on, and this is the 5th book in the series, Venus on Mars 2, which is confusingly the first of the 2 Venus on Mars books. It's spelled T-O, not T-W-O. This is about a group of feminists going to Mars and sort of commenting on what's happening with politics on Earth, because it was around about the time of the 2016 election. So they're sort of talking about what's happening on Earth from a sort of out of Earth perspective as they're going to Mars. Then there's a sequel to that, Venus on Mars, Mars on Venus, which is also about these people continuing to go to Mars, and also sort of flashes between what's happening on the spacecraft that's going to Mars and also what's happening on Earth in a sort of supermarket that another character works in. So it kind of tries to relate what's happening on Earth to what's happening on Mars, and it's quite interesting, quite different, quite unusual. Then it goes on, and this would be the 7th book in the series, To Bigger Brother, World Affairs. This was basically written during the pandemic, although it was actually started just before the pandemic. And interestingly, I talk about TB in Japan and the need for wearing masks and all that, and then suddenly the pandemic hits and what I was talking about becomes auto-relevant, and it's really quite bizarre. Because we were already wearing masks here in Australia because of the bushfires at the end of 2019, and then suddenly it went from being a sort of thing that only a few people do, and then suddenly, because of the pandemic, everyone starts wearing masks. So it's interesting that at the start of this book, I'm talking about Master Lot, and little did I know how relevant they would become very soon. So this is started at the end of 2019, and I think I finished it around the end of 2020. And it's about basically it's kind of like set in a store, like a supermarket, where the character works, and actually it's set mostly below the store because the character becomes a contestant in a sort of Big Brother,